Welcome to your editing lesson for today, fourth graders. We're going to be looking at our Martin Luther King Jr. paragraph. So your lesson objective, what you're going to be learning and practicing with me, is you're going to edit the 10 errors in the nonfiction, meaning it's true, has a lot of facts. Martin Luther King Jr. was a real person. Edit the 10 errors in the nonfiction paragraph. There's 10 of them. And whenever you edit, you always look at the acronym CUPS, CUPS, because for every error that we edit, it's either dealing with words that need to be capitalized, verb usage, punctuation, or spelling. So let's begin. The first thing you do before you start looking for the errors when you edit is you have to read the paragraph. And once again, this is nonfiction, meaning it's true. It's a true account of someone's life. It's a biography, Martin Luther King's life story. The third Monday of January is the annual observance of the birthday of Martin Luther King Jr. King was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia. A minister and civil rights leader, King led a bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955. Devoted to nonviolence, he also led a peaceful march in Washington, D.C., during which he delivered his famous I Have a Dream speech. King was killed in Tennessee in April 1968. So let's look at the first sentence, one sentence at a time. The third Monday of January. There's a day of the week that should start with an uppercase letter. So what I want you to do is I want you to move the 3 lines icon. That's an editing mark to signify that that letter should be capitalized. Days of the week are proper nouns, so they must be capitalized. And you can use any color that you want. I want you to place the 3 lines underneath at that editing mark and then draw an uppercase M for Monday. Now, what kind of error was that? Dealing with C, U, P, or the S in cups. Now, the lowercase m needed to be uppercase, so that's dealing with caps, words that need to be capitalized. So add a check mark underneath the C column in our cups chart. Then let's look at the end of that sentence. The third Monday of January is the annual observance of the birthday of Martin Luther King Jr., King. We need to put a period at the end of our complete sentence. Oh, not a period, excuse me, JK. We need to add a comma because that's the way his name is written. Martin Luther King Jr., there's a comma between King and Jr., so you can either draw the comma with the pencil or you can move the little icon that looks like this, and that's our little comma right there. So you choose what works for you. Then let's keep working on this. A minister and civil rights leader, King, lead a bus boycott? Led a bus boycott. So we're going to pause right there. If we added a comma in between King and Jr., that is dealing with punctuation. A comma is a punctuation mark. So add a check mark in the P column. Then if we change the word lead to led, that's dealing with verb usage. It's changing the verb. When you lead someone, that's an action. We need to change it from lead to led. Then let's look here. Bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama. Now there's a rule. Whenever you have the city and the state, there's something that always goes between it, between the city and the state. So we need to move our comma icon. We need to insert a comma right there in between the city and the state. And that is a punctuation error. So far we have 4 errors down, 6 more to go. Devoted to nonviolence, he also led. Look at the word also. Should it be 2 separate words with an extra L or 1 word? The word also is always 1 word. So move one of the text boxes over and spell it A-L-S-O. Now that was what kind of error, 4th graders? That was a spelling error, changing the spelling of also. He also led a peaceful march. Now this word right here is a homophone word. It sounds the same, but we need to use the other piece spelling. This one's talking about a section of something, like when you cut a piece of pie out, like a section, and it's also misspelled. P-E-A-C-E-F-U-L. Peaceful. We have to spell it P-E-A-C-E-F-U-L. So that is a spelling error. We changed the spelling. We corrected that. Peaceful March in Washington, D.C. Now, D.C. is abbreviated for District of Columbia. And whenever you abbreviate, you always need a period after each uppercase letter. So we have D, and then we have the period, and then the C, we are missing our period before the comma. So we're going to get our little marker and just put a period before the comma after the C. During which he delivered his famous "I have a dream" speech. That's a quotation from his speech. Commas, quotation marks, excuse me, come in pairs, one at the beginning and one at the end. So please move this text box over with the quotation marks. When something is said, you use quotation marks at the beginning, at the end, a pair at the beginning and a pair at the end. So it was missing the last pair of quotation marks. I have a dream speech. King was kill. Now, I'm going to read this to you one more time to see if you can pick up the error. Devoted to nonviolence, he also led a peaceful march in Washington, D.C., during which he delivered his famous "I have a dream" speech. We need to add a period at the end of speech. Then, King was killed in Tennessee in April 1968. If we added a quotation mark, that means that's a punctuation error. Quotation marks are a type of punctuation mark. Then if we added a period at the end of the word speech, that's also another punctuation mark error. The last one, King was killed in Tennessee in April 1968. Was it King was kill? If it already happened, we need to add a suffix to it at the end, ed. So move the last text box over, and we should have he was killed in Tennessee, adding ed at the end. So that is a spelling error. Those were the 10 errors in the nonfiction paragraph over Martin Luther King Jr. Please make sure that you have these corrections made on the paragraph. When you are done, click on the green check mark. If you fell behind, please rewind, and don't forget to fill out the cups chart and have all the markings and move the text boxes over. Thank you for completing this with me, 4th graders. Thanks for watching, and then click the green arrow. You know what to do. Thank you for watching once again.